So I know it's been a while since I posted a video, and especially the third video in my world building trilogy videos. I'm not sure if anybody's really watching, but shit hit the fan in my personal life. We had a death in the family and stuff like that. So I've been pushing it back for, I guess, as long as I could. I've been delaying it just because I haven't had the mind for it. The only thing I've been doing is writing, but that's mainly because writing helps me kind of process and like kind of get out of my head for a minute and like grieve, I guess you could say, for just a second. But I'm sorry about the noise in the background. I live in New York, so bear with me. Yeah, so but I'm trying to get back in the hang of things and trying to film again. Once I post this video, I think it's gonna be a while before I post another video, or at the very least my other videos aren't gonna be kind of me face to face. Maybe it's just gonna be filming me working or something else. Maybe I don't think my niche is like actually showing my face. I wasn't comfortable with it before, and now I don't feel like I have the head for it. Anyways, enjoyed this video. Let me know what you think. And yeah, sorry for anybody that actually supports my videos, that has seen my videos. Sorry for the delay, and thank you for being so patient. Enjoy. Hello everybody, welcome back to another one of my videos. If you are seeing this video for the first time, I am Ellen Santana. I'm an indie author. My debut novel, The Hero's Descent, is available now on Amazon, so go check it out. I've decided that as my debut to YouTube, I would talk about my process as an author, what I decided to do, and why I decided to make the choices I did, not only for this story, but also for all the stories that I'm working on, which to my detriment are a lot. I should really cut back. But anyways, the first videos of this series has been about world building. So this video would end that saga with world building, but I'm gonna focus on the connector. So how did I connect the historical and the fantasy together? If you're interested in watching the previous world building videos, I have added them in the description below, so check them out before you check this one out. You don't need to see the other ones, but I'm gonna talk about things that I've talked about in the previous video, so it's good for you to kind of understand a little bit more. So with that being said, enjoy the show. So in my first official video, I talked about why I had to republish my debut novel. So this is the first copy, and this is the current copy. So I talk about why I had to move from this to this, and then I did a series on world building. This is video 3 of that series. The first video talks about the fantasy. The second one talks about the history, and now this video is going to talk about how I connected them all together, how I made a fantasy and a historical fantasy. To achieve a perfect blend, at least for me, of the two genres, I use what I called connectors. So connectors is just as they say, they are factors that help connect two different genres. For example, I'll use historic and fantasy. So for historical fantasy, the connector could be something like the magic makes what wouldn't be possible in a historical drama, in a historical fiction, possible, and it transitions, making it fantasy. You know what I mean? For me, connector number one was fairly easy, and I kind of gave it to you guys already. It was magic. Magic was the easiest connector whenever you do a genre with fantasy, sci-fi and fantasy, romance fantasy, dystopia fantasy. Whenever you do a genre of fantasy, magic is the easiest connector to use. So for me, sorry for the background noise. I live in the city. Just bear with it. I can't control it. So for me, what magic offered was it gave me the ease to include more diversity in a historical fiction that wouldn't normally have diversity if I was keeping it historically accurate. It was also an excuse and an explanation for everything I did. So why are women more respected? Why do women have more power? Why are women listened to? Why, every little thing, magic. The reason, magic. Why aren't women being burned at the stake for giving their opinion? Magic. So it was kind of a clutch. It was the easiest connector to choose. So it was number one. Now for my second connector number two, that would be details. So this might not sound like a connector because it's like every story has little details, but when I say details, I meant historical facts, things that really were accurate. So the fashion for the historical period, the food, the lingo, the words they use, the insults they use, even the curse words. I looked all of it up because although my book is based on my version of Middle Ages, it's still based on a real place that had the real language, the real history, the real fashion, the real food. So I did use a lot of those details, those facts, and use them to connect the past and the present, because I also added a lot of futuristic elements, so elements that you wouldn't normally see in a historical fantasy or in a historical fiction in general. So this was how details became a connector. The details that I found in history plus the details of the current era of like the future combined together to kind of blend the two genres together, hopefully flawlessly. Finally, the third connector was creativity and my own ideas. This was by far the easiest connector and the one I had the most fun with. I kind of think this connector is also self-explanatory, like the first one, and it's just, how did I make this time period and this world and the magic different? For example, I created economies for each kingdoms, even the kingdoms that are not like the main focus of at least book one, which you can see right here. I created certain words, the name of the kingdoms. I've created gods, the gods of the kingdom. I created not necessarily creatures per se, but I added my own spin to mythological creatures that we normally see in mythology and fairy tales and such. I mixed the modern fashion with the olden fashion to add kind of like a more personality to the touch, more ease, more comfort to the touch, which is weird because they're make-believe characters, so they wouldn't really mind, but still it's just like something that I think will go. I wanted each fashion, each style to go with each person's personality, to be kind of an extension of who they are. I also changed around the roles for women, so women have more power. Like I said before, they can share their own opinions. They are more powerful, they are more fierce, they are more, more modern the way they are now, and people are okay with that kind of. I didn't want to go too extreme, it's still a historical fiction, But yeah, people are more okay with that because that was my own spin, because I said so. And then I added so LGBTQ elements as well. So there's same-sex couples in it, and that's perfectly okay. It's not like blasphemy, and they're not, obviously, again, it's still a historical piece, so there are people that are like, no, I don't like it. But for the most part, it's not something that you'll get burned at the stake for or torture for or anything like that. And this was my own creative spin, mainly because, for selfish reasons, I wanted to add a same-sex couple, so I made it possible because I said so. But Connector 3 is definitely one of the ones I had the most fun with, and that's, I think, the one I shine in as an author. Hopefully, if you read my book, you'll think the same. There was one other connector. I said the third one was the last one, but there is another connector. The thing is, it's kind of not really a connector. So you go the 4, balance. This is not, I don't know, it could be considered a connector, but at the same time it can't. What I mean by balance is knowing what to add and what not to add. This is where beta readers help, and they're amazing here, because there was one thing that I created, so I called them the menstrual cup, which was, I talked about it in the book, which was a cup that does. It's self-explanatory. I'm not gonna go into the gruesome details or anything like that, but my beta reader talked to me about it and convinced me that most readers wouldn't be, like, they would be turned off by reading that in a book. Most readers don't want to know the ins and outs of such a thing, and they might not want to hear about it. So I took that out, because there is such a thing as too much world building. I've learned, especially for me, I go into very meticulous details, especially for economy, for, like, I created these places. I did everything except create their own language, and that's because I don't have the skill set to create a language. But there is such a thing as too much world building, and I learned that, not the hard way, but I've learned that. When she told me that, I was kind of upset. I wanted to include it because I was like, I was proud of myself, because I'm the type of person that if I see like a plot hole, it's like it won't stop me from reading a book, but it'll kind of turn me off to, like, well, how did this work? But that's just me. I think my beta reader made me realize that sometimes as writers we're thinking too much of ourselves, of what we want to see in our books or what we want to read, and it's not always that. So this is where the balance comes in, and the balance comes usually from somebody else. That's why I'm hesitant to add it as a connector, because somebody else provides the balance. They'll tell you, well, you shouldn't add this, but you should add this, so it's still a connector, but not really. But it's still very important to bring it all together, and all those connectors together were what helped me combine history and fantasy. And that's the end of my world building series on my historical fantasy. Leave a comment down below. Let me know what you think. Let me know if you want to hear more. If you're an author, let me know if you've done this, or if you have another trick for it. If you're a reader, let me know what you think about writing books this way. But just let me know what you think. I love to hear from you guys. And don't forget, the Hero's Descent is available now on Amazon. I'll leave the link down below. I still haven't learned how to put the link on the screen, but once I learn that, I'll put the link on the screen. But for now, the link will be in the subscription below if you want to check out the book, if you want to check out information on the book, the blurb to see if you're interested in the story. I would say this is a historical fantasy, but it has some thriller mix into it, and kind of mystery and suspense. So it's definitely an interesting read. Book 2 will be out this year as well, so catch up on book 1 before book 2 comes out. Thank you for those that watch these videos and those that watch my previous videos. If you watch both, thank you so much. This means a lot to me. I'll see you in the next video, which might talk about one of the stories that I've published online, which is the story of the first female mob boss. It's also a historical fantasy, but it deals with a different setting and a different time period. So check that out. I'll leave the link below. That's on my website for you to read for free. So catch up, check it out. Let me know what you think of that one as well. See you in the next video.